Have you ever wondered how some people can read others like a book? How they can tell what others are thinking, feeling, and planning? How they can use their knowledge to influence their behavior and decisions? Well, there is one person who can do all that and more. He is the ultimate mind game player, the master of manipulation, the creator and mastermind of Tomodachi game. He is Yuuichi Katagiri. In this video, I'm going to show you how to read people like Yuuichi Katagiri and how he uses his skills to play with his friends' lives. But be warned, this is not a game for the faint of heart. So how does Yuuichi read people so well? Well, there are three main skills that Yuuichi uses to read people like a book: observation, analysis, and deception. Let's go over each one in detail. Observation. The first skill that Yuuichi uses to read people is observation. He pays close attention to every detail about his targets, such as their appearance, expressions, gestures, tone of voice, words, actions, reactions, habits, preferences, and personality. He also observes their relationships with others, their strengths and weaknesses, their goals and motivations, their fears and desires, and their values and morals. He uses all this information to build a profile of each person, which he can use to predict their behavior and emotions. For example, in the first game of Tomodachi game, Yuuichi observes that his friend Yutori is very timid and insecure. He also notices that she has a crush on him, which makes her more vulnerable to his influence. He uses this information to manipulate her by pretending to be unsure himself and asking for her opinion. He also flatters her intelligence and compliments her appearance, making her feel more confident and trusting of him. Analysis. The second skill that Yuuichi uses to read people is analysis. He uses his observation skills to gather data about his targets, but he also uses his logic and reasoning skills to interpret the data and draw conclusions. He analyzes the patterns and trends in their behavior and emotions and tries to find the underlying causes and effects. He also compares and contrasts different people and situations, looking for similarities and differences. He uses all this information to create a strategy for each person and scenario, which he can use to influence their outcomes. For example, in the second game of Tomodachi game, Yuuichi analyzes that his friend Shiho is very loyal and honest, but also very naive and gullible. He also realizes that she has a strong sense of justice and morality, which makes her more resistant to his manipulation. He uses this information to trick her into betraying her friends in the game by pretending to be on her side and appealing to her sense of fairness. He also lies to her about the rules and consequences of the game, making her believe that she is doing the right thing. Deception. The third skill that Yuuichi uses to read people is deception. He uses his observation and analysis skills to create a false persona for himself, which he can use to deceive his targets. He also uses his communication skills to convey his persona through his words and actions. He adapts his persona according to each person and situation, changing his appearance, expressions, gestures, tone of voice, words, actions, reactions, habits, preferences, and personality. He uses all this information to create an illusion for each person and scenario, which he can use to control their perception. For example, in the third game of Tomodachi game, Yuuichi deceives his friend Shibe into thinking that he is his best friend and ally. He also pretends to be a cheerful and optimistic person who values friendship above all else. He uses this persona to gain Shibe's trust and sympathy in the game by sharing his personal stories and secrets with him. He uses all this deception to make Shibe feel guilty and indebted to him. So there you have it. Observation, analysis, and deception are the three main skills that Yuuichi Katagiri uses to read people like a book. Of course, these skills are not easy to master, and they require a lot of practice and experience. They also come with a lot of risks and consequences, as Yuuichi eventually learns the hard way. So, I don't recommend that you use these skills to manipulate or harm others, but rather to understand and help others.